On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Yeah, to fire or not to fire? Obviously, the answer is baked in. We've got Trump specifically answering to that. We've got a lot of rumors floating around, and frankly, as has been said by others, there's an action-reaction in this entire movement, war, whatever we want to call it. I think there's a lot of people that are very fixated. There's specific dates and times and all that. War never works like that. It's never, ever, ever how it works. So please try to remove that from your mind. There might be some fun coincidences that are placed in the path of us. Enjoy those while you can. But certainly, there is no fixed times. There are hopes and expectations that things will, of course, get done this year. Hopefully. Or we'll see. Again, we thought that before the last two elections, that things had to get fixed. So here we are again, almost, at least 5 years later, kind of having the same thought. Action, reaction. They make an action, we react. Or we make an action, typically is how this has been playing out, and they react. And that is exactly what is happening. Trump has pushed them into a lot of corners. We've pushed them collectively into a lot of corners. They're reacting as expected. They will have their moment to show and be wrong. Again, this is what's continued to happen. They choose their footing where they're going to stand, and almost in every single case now, their footing is weak, shaky, and is breaking loose. They are losing. Got a good show, and hopefully, we'll see. I don't know, fingers crossed, might be able to even pull off less than an hour. We'll see. Obviously, you know going into this how long it's going to be. I don't yet. We're going to find out. Few inconvenient truths that I wanted to start with, and I think these are pretty fun. First off, Al Gore's inconvenient truth. It turned 20 years old today, and, well, frankly, it didn't age well. It didn't age well at all. In fact, the polar ice caps are supposed to be completely gone by now. They're not. Their Mount Kilimanjaro is supposed to have zero snow on the top of it during the summer. It's still got snow on the top of it. In fact, just about every single climate emergency prophecy they made, none of them have come true. And in fact, they've had to remove a lot of these signs. They had a sign up in Glacier National Park that said, in so many years, these glaciers won't be here anymore. Well, that so many year part passed, and they had to remove the sign because there's still glaciers. Now, again, is there weird climate going on this planet? Yes. Is it related to people? Probably a teeny tiny bit, but for the most part, certainly, I don't think has a lot to do with CO2. I think that's a bunch of misnomer. And of course, I'm not trying to make any claims here, guys. I know YouTube's going to have a hard time with that. I'm not making claims. But a lot of the experts that aren't the stupid experts that have been wrong, like Al Gore, wrong, just wrong. That's all we can say. So he's not correct. I don't care if he agrees with the World Health Organization or whoever. Gore's not right. We're in a funny place right now, where, truth is a funny thing. And you can't talk about certain things, right? Because that might get people to believe other things than what we want them to believe. And yet here we are. Now, weather, back to that. Do I think there's some technology behind it? The weather? Yeah, probably. Probably more than, it used to be a lot more than it is now, I think. I think it's reduced greatly, but there's probably still some. But, and I know maybe some people don't like this, and it's going to remind me of a funny joke that a good friend of mine shared with me, and I'm going to share it with you guys. The sun is being weird. We are in an interesting time in history. Historically speaking, every 6,000 years, something pretty messed up happens on this planet. Last time it happened was about 6,000 years ago. We've got a weakening magnetic field. Many people say, Dan, that takes many, many, many years to happen. True. It started back in 1850. And so it's almost 200 years now, and we are seeing significant movements of the poles every year. They're moving miles. Well, the North Pole is moving a lot more than the South Pole. South Pole's definitely moved, but it's a little more kind of stationary. The North Pole it's moving. I think that stuff actually affects weather a lot more than anyone's willing to admit. And certainly they wanted to utilize the man-made thing because they could control us with that. So again, here we are. Inconvenient truth has not aged well. Another inconvenient truth that is not going to age well. Here's Obama.
There are those in the immigrants' rights community who have argued passionately that we should simply provide those who are illegally with legal status, or at least ignore the laws on the books and put an end to deportation until we have better laws. And often this argument is framed in moral terms. Why should we punish people who are just trying to earn a living? I recognize the sense of compassion that drives this argument. But I believe such an indiscriminate approach would be both unwise and unfair. It would suggest to those thinking about coming here illegally that there will be no repercussions for such a decision. And this could lead to a surge in more illegal immigration. And it would also ignore the millions of people around the world who are waiting in line to come here legally. Ultimately, our nation, like all nations, has the right and obligation to control its borders and set laws for residency and citizenship. And no matter how decent they are, no matter their reasons, the 11 million who broke these laws should be held accountable.
And then Biden brought in like 20 million more. You know, it's funny, Obama had Tom Homan, had the most immigration, kicking people out of here, right? Most deportations, and 440,000 of them to Trump's 200 and some odd thousand of them in 1 year, I should say. So Obama has Trump beat. Obama created the cages that the children were in. Obama has deported more people in 1 year than Trump has. It's kind of hard, doesn't age well, does it? And yet, we've got so many people that make claims. A lot of claims right now. Fetterman, again, I love Fetterman, and it's cool. I get him saying this. He's got to look good to his party. He's on rocky grounds as it is, trying to do the right thing. Doing the right thing is almost never the popular thing. I'll tell you that. I know for a fact. Reporter asked Trump, "Is Kristi Noem going to step down?" Trump says, "No, actually. Check it out."
Is Kristi Noem going to step down? No.
Doesn't even waste time. No. Fuck out of here with your stupid ass questions. No. Thank you very much. Inconvenient truths. They're trying to spin them. They're not working. They're not sticking. Now, again, our side of the fence has plenty of people that are shaky, plenty of people that really aren't actually awake. They just happen to be Republican. There's a lot of them on our side of the fence. There's an awful lot of people that I bump into that think they're awake because they're a Republican. They must be awake. I'm a Republican. I guess I'm awake too. No, you're not. No offense. You're not. Very few people are actually awake. And there's levels of awakeness. Again, not trying to slam anybody, and I'm not speaking to any specific person. Not you. You're awake, of course, but everyone else. There's a lot of people. You bump into them. Trump's HUD Secretary Scott Turner, he unveiled a jaw-dropping betrayal by the uniparty, I'm going to call it, more than just Democrats.
We eliminated non-permanent residence eligibility for FHA-insured mortgages. And we are auditing public housing authorities to ensure taxpayer dollars don't support illegal aliens. American dollars should benefit American citizens and American citizens only. By focusing on our core mission, HUD provided a pathway for home ownership and supported housing affordability for more than 1 million Americans through FHA and Ginnie Mae. We also take stewardship very seriously, so we're cracking down on waste and fraud and abuse. Our Office of the Chief Financial Officer uncovered more than $5 billion in potential payment errors, over $50 billion in total rental assistance for the fiscal year 2024. And that includes money that went to nearly 30,000 dead people. That is ludicrous. It's ridiculous to even think or talk in such a way. It's a violation of our sacred trust to American taxpayers, and it has to end, and it will.
Yeah. Again, just the amount of corruption. $5 billion in payment errors, $50 billion in total rental assistance in 2024 alone. $50 billion. That's 1/20 of a trillion. That's 1/20 of a trillion. That's a nickel compared to a dollar. 50 billion is a nickel of a trillion, if you will. That's a butt ton of money. AAG Harmeet Dillon put this out, and she was responding to Nova Campaigns. When Nova Campaign said Virginia Democrats just moved to make any possession of a 10-plus round gun magazine a misdemeanor in Virginia. No grandfather clause. Millions of Virginians own standard 30-round mags. Well, Harmeet Dillon made a great point. This is a blatant violation of the Supreme Court precedents, and it will not stand. This is the funny thing. Democrats don't care about the courts. They only care about what they're trying to push. Supreme Court says, law of the land, we're allowed to have guns, we're allowed to have larger capacity magazines than 10 rounds. Whatever their nonsense reasons for trying to limit that is, the way our government has, or the way our people have always been, we have larger than 10 round magazines for forever. As long as they've been in existence, we've had them. And 50 round drums. I mean, I've seen people put 50 round drums on a 9mm. As ridiculous as that sounds, people in Texas are like, duh, I own like 3 of those. Totally. I'd imagine there's some of it for some of these guys is more just the fun of loading the damn thing, which is probably difficult. I will say the quick loaders are one of the coolest things I've ever used, because you get into those last few rounds, man, and they're hard to push in, right? Maybe it's just the fact that I'm a puss. Whatever. I don't need a name call. That's not nice. This is interesting, all I can say. I'm very curious to see how this one plays out. Very curious to see what the end result is of this, if you will. Trump has signed an executive order for feds to take over LA's nightmare wildfire rebuild in huge boost for victims. So far, 16,000 structures were lost. Of those 16,000 structures, and this is over a year ago, only 2,600 permits have been given so far to rebuild. 16,000 structures, 2,600 permits only after a year have been given to rebuild, leaving, well, way more than most without that opportunity yet. Trump has already said and told us that they've pushed through all the federal permits. That's done. Federal permits are done, granted, okayed. Make it happen, Captain. And yet here in California, because Karen Bass and, of course, Gavin Newsom, the communist in charge, yeah, they don't like that. They're going to fight this in courts, of course, and that's going to be, again, a fun battle. As California defends why it's okay to prohibit people from building their homes back. Go for it, Gavin Newsom. You go, Karen Bass. You have a fun time defending that position. Because all Trump's trying to do is help people rebuild their homes that were lost because of failure by LA. LA is probably going to get sued by this, by the way, and should. As much as that's going to suck for taxpayers. I mean, basically you're suing yourself if you're a homeowner and you sue the city you live in. You're essentially suing yourself, but at least it's spread out amongst everybody. Yeah, this is a mess. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. A hell of a lot of fun. Rhino governor undermines Trump on immigration enforcement. Mr. Hot Wheels is kind of sticking out his stupid neck in a place where I kind of feel like he should have kept quiet. Now, he did use the same momentum to take some swipes or to run over the toes of Tim Walz, which, cool. Good on you, Hot Wheels. And by the way, I know who gave them the nickname, and I know we don't like her, but it's a damn cool nickname, so she gets to keep it. That's the one good thing she's done for this country, is giving us a fun nickname for Governor Greg Abbott. Hot Wheels. Governor Hot Wheels. I've heard a lot of people tell me from Texas that he's not necessarily, like, he's a rhino. He's a rhino. Now, he's done a lot of good things. I feel like he was trying to, roll onto the right side of the line, if you will, but there's times where he shouldn't open his mouth, in my opinion, and this was one of them. He's basically telling Trump, you should back off on this ICE stuff. You should pull ICE out of Minnesota. It's aggravating people. That's not a reason to pull ICE out. That's not a reason at all. Yeah, okay, so it's aggravating people. We want criminals out of there. We got criminals running Minnesota, and Texas, it sounds like. We've got criminals running Minnesota. We got criminals on the street in Minnesota. And we've got problems happening everywhere in Minnesota. And you want to pull the only people that are actually doing anything to fix the problem. You want to pull them out. Is that what you're saying, Hot Wheels? Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea at all. I don't think he's not up for election, is he, right? He's not going to re-elect, is he? Is he done? He termed out? I don't know. I know other people are running. I know Paxton's running. Paxton's done a lot of great stuff. I'm nervous about anybody right now in Texas, to be honest with you. You guys are going to have to figure that out. I'm hoping Trump comes and helps us, and I'm not slamming on Texas as a state at all. But I think Texas is far more taken over than most Texans appreciate. So you guys came very close, and you were the last bastion. And remember the Alamo, and don't mess with Texas and all the stupid shit you guys say. Have a taco. Hopefully, we can get your state back under control as well. Now, this is coming from the guy in California. I get that. So please, shade me in any way you'd like. I deserve it. Again, I'm not fond of the bullshit we're doing here either, but here I am, you know. I want to talk about this. It's fantastic. I got an email from somebody, too, and we'll see. I got an email from somebody that I just loved, and it was beautiful. It's a cool story, and it proves the point that I've frequently been bringing up. In fact, I even asked Mike Lindell about it specifically, and that's the towels. Now, first and foremost, before we get to the towels, free shipping. This includes mattresses and toppers. Huge sale on a mattress. This is one of those things, by the way. Your dollar's losing value every single day, okay? A lot of people saying buy gold and silver. You should. Buy gold and silver, definitely. It's good stuff. Definitely want to own it. But you can't sleep on gold or silver. One of the things that's good to do with the money you might have is to buy actual assets that are useful, that you need, and that tend to last a while. Beds are one of those. Mattresses are one of those. You get a mattress, you probably get 20 years out of it. I mean, as long as you flip it and rotate and do all the fun stuff, it lasts you quite a while. Unless you get a big, giant-ass person sleeping on it. They ship it to your door for free. So, you got any mattresses? And I'll tell you this, too. I don't know about all you guys, but here, I know we get trash people pick up odd-sized stuff 3 times a year. And you essentially just put it out on your curb, and they'll come pick it up. Mattresses fall into that category. I've gotten rid of mattresses that way, and it's an excellent way to get rid of stuff like that. And then they just bring you a new one in the mail somehow for free. Free shipping anyways. So take advantage of that, please. Free shipping on everything. They've got this Rev 7 stuff going on with the small little, like those little B7 shot or the little vitamin B shots or whatever, about that size, like those Rev 7. Pretty yummy. A lot of energy. It's super good. So for you guys energy drinks and want something that's a little on the healthier side, you're going to love Rev 7. They've done an amazing job with that. Mike Lindell, being a former addict, he drinks this stuff like crazy. It's probably why he's always so excited, right? And Giza Dream Sheets, $29.98. Excellent sheets. Best sheets, high thread count. They're amazing. Super deep pockets. You're going to love them. Again, free shipping. Did we mention that? Yeah. Got his cross. That's very, very cool. Here's the thing that was amazing. The 6-piece towel sets. If you have not tried their towels, you have no idea what a good towel is. Now, I've told you before, the little shower door, right? I use it. I swipe it once right by the shower door because right where the handle is, I can't get the squeegee in there. So I just use my towel. One wipe. It's gone. Doesn't make that noise, but it should. That'd be cool. Right? Gone. The water. None. Zero. Absorbed. You guys remember how Bounty used to talk about being a quicker picker-upper? Yeah, it can't even touch my towel. Mike Lindell did a funny thing where they pour a bunch of liquid into it and then hold it up and see how much drips out. Yeah, it held way more liquid than any of the other crap towels out there. Now, here's the thing that's amazing. They're life-saving towels, I've come to find out. Got a lady that they like my show. They don't like my music show because they're older and they enjoy piano and violin and stupid shit like that. No offense to you guys. It's great. You love stuff like that. I responded to him similar with that backhanded kind of thing. I'm like, thanks for your comments, minus the fact you don't like my music. All said, they had 2 lambs born. I think they live in a manger. I think Jesus is coming. They got 2 lambs born. And they went out and they used the crap towels to try to dry off the baby lambs. Very, very cold, and they're wet, obviously, from all the birthing stuff. Call it what you want. So they tried to use regular towels. They went back out there. The lambs are still wet. Went back out and tried to rub more of that towel on them. Lambs are still wet. She said, she thought of me, I think. I hope. It popped into her head. She's like, oh, Dan always talks about my pill towels being amazing. Which they are. She went into her shower, grabbed the one that she's been using. Obviously, she probably didn't use it the following day without washing it. I hope. She used the My Pillow towel on the lambs. Completely dry. Completely dry after. Got everything off. I'm telling you, ladies, you wrap your hair up in a towel, you're going to be pissed the first time you use a My Pillow towel to do that. It will dry your hair more than you're used to. These towels are amazing. I can't recommend them enough. It is the greatest, best towel I've ever used. It dries. It does what a towel is supposed to do, but it does it better. You got to check it out. Free shipping, too. They got beautiful colors and everything under the sun. Check out the towels. Check out all of their incredible products. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. Get that free shipping. mypillow.com/OTF. You can even call directly if you want. 1-800-544-8939. It's 1-800-544-8939. And using that number still helps the channel, so you're okay. That's the same thing as using the OTF coupon code. And if they ask, make sure you tell them OTF sent you. But mypillow.com/OTF. mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you have ever had. All right, Minnesota. We got a whole mess of stuff going on in Minnesota, which is oddly where my pillow is from. Go figure that, right? It's a little kind of strange. And Mike Lindell's running for governor. We'll see how that all plays out. We're going to start here. J.D. Vance taking a small little swipe at Ilhan Omar, who is, well, annoying and stupid and ridiculous and a cheat and a thief and all sorts of other things. What is it when you marry your own brother? That's disgusting, too. I don't know what the name of that is, but that's incest, I think it is. Yeah, right? Incest is best. Put your brother to the test. Huh? There you go. Yeah, rock and roll. Ilhan, you go, girl. ICE is going to leave Minnesota if you hand over your voter rolls. Tells you everything you need to know, says Ilhan Omar. This was never about immigration or whatever the hell. And J.D. Vance follows up with, quote, "We really want illegal aliens to vote in elections, and we'll riot to ensure that is so." Nice. I like it. Here's a little something funny. Benny Johnson exposed this. Apparently, Ilhan Omar's winery is fake. It's just 1 year, the winery increased in value by $5 million with no physical winery, no website, or the website that barely works, I should say, no phone line, social media has gone dark, and there's, no wine at the winery. No winery, no physical winery, no wine at the winery, yet somehow it's worth $5 million. Isn't that interesting? And just kind of funny as well, just on the same thing. I mean, it's not really related to everything else in this, but I just thought it was kind of funny because of all the theft going on. But this person, Akai Rico, posted, "Tell me why I've noticed that everyone who owns a boat seems to be a Trump supporter." And they follow up with, "That's because there's currently no government programs that gives boats away. You have to work for a boat." Kind of true. Now, Alex Preti was known to feds, had a rib broken in an anti-ICE protest a week before he was killed by Border Patrol. I don't believe that for a second. I don't. I've had my ribs cracked on 2 separate occasions. I don't know how many. I didn't go to a doctor. It hurt. I heard them crack, and it was excruciatingly painful. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to cough. It hurt to sneeze. It hurt to move. Everything hurt. In fact, I used to joke, like if all someone would have to do is just threaten to push me, and I would be like, "You can have my wallet, you can have my keys, here's where my house is, here's my combo." Because just, it hurts. All they'd have to do is push you and be like, "You win. Oh, God, I'm so fragile." So to think a guy with broken rib is somehow going to get in an altercation, is somehow going to be out moving around the way he did, is full of shit. There's no damn way if this dude was moving like he was with broken ribs. Any of you guys that have ever broken a rib, you tell me I'm wrong. I was excruciating. It hurt to breathe. Bullshit on that. Now, Patel is asking lawful gun owners to be smart and, don't bring this crap to these ICE things. That's not smart. You are probably going to die if you do that. So please, don't die. Don't do that. Here's Kash Patel talking with Sean Hannity.
With more, FBI Director Kash Patel. Director, thank you. What do we know about this encrypted message group? I know this is not the FBI's investigation. However, when you have well-organized groups like this that are going after law enforcement, I would imagine that will fall under the purview of the FBI.
Yeah, Sean, it's great to be with you. And look, the ongoing investigation involving the shooting last week is being led by DHS, and of course, we're supporting our interagency partners there. The Signal Chat group is information we collect from the public because we repeatedly request the public provide us with information they have. And what we are going to do is what we have been doing across the country under President Trump's leadership to deliver this historic success from year to year. It's not a trust me situation. It's a look at the last year. It's a look at what we did when the FBI opened up their task force in the state of Virginia under President Trump and our great partners at DOJ and the Attorney General. We wiped out crime in the state, and we're going to do that in every single city. We've done it for the whole year. And on this type of specific investigation, what you do, generally speaking, is you send out subpoenas, you collect data, you put people in grand juries, and you find out who broke the law. And if anyone broke the law and incited violence, remember, that's the key here. We are not going after people and infringing on their freedom of speech to peacefully protest. We are definitely not going after people on their Second Amendment right to bear arms. Only if you incite violence and or threaten to do harm to law enforcement officials and break the law in any other way does it become an investigatory matter. So this Signal Chat is something that we, the FBI, are looking at and spearheading.
Is the FBI also involved in looking into this raid on this church and the FACE Act? And I understand that there's another arrest that happened just prior to the program.
Yeah, Sean, thanks. Just breaking literally right now, another example of what we do at the FBI when we team up with state and local partners in the interagency and President Trump's backing of the blue and the Attorney General of the Department of Justice's prosecutions is this FBI has already arrested the 4 individuals responsible for the vehicle damage just a week ago in Minnesota. Also, during that incident, sensitive information was stolen from that vehicle relating to FBI and federal agents' personal data. People put that information out and threaten the lives of federal agents, wives, and children. Just tonight, we arrested a second individual out in the West Coast for threatening agents by stealing that information. And just a couple of days ago, we had our first arrest on an individual who did the same thing. In between, this FBI led the charge to arrest those involved with violating the FACE Act while impeding unlawfully the rights of people to worship in their houses of worship at the church in Minneapolis. A FACE Act violation is a federal charge. This is what we're talking about. This is what you're talking about, Sean. Do not let the media cement a false narrative. Let these investigations run its course. Let us do our job with our interagency and state and local partners, and let's all take a breath and calm down the situation, because when investigations like this are run properly, like we've done under President Trump's leadership, that's the only way you can drop the murder rate 20 points. That's the only way you can have 6 top 10 captures by this FBI in 1 year. And that's the only way we can keep our children safe and do things like arrest 500% more people who are threatening our children online in nihilistic, violent, extremist networks.
Well, it's
and
certainly
so
not helpful when you use Nazi analogies and call ICE agents Gestapo. There's nobody that's been more pro-Second Amendment than yours truly. I've had a pistol carry permit in New York City. I've had it in California when I lived there, in Alabama, in Georgia, back when I went to New York, and now in the free state of Florida. But with that comes a big responsibility. I have told people on air, well, Hannity, what gun should I get? I said, the one you're willing to get trained in the safe use of. And I've also told stories that, in situations, if I knew I was on camera and I could get away from a confrontation, knowing that I had the ability to defend myself, I would turn and hightail it and run rather than ever have to pull out a weapon. If you have a weapon, do you belong in an environment that is as contentious as this weekend? Do you bear responsibility knowing that you have a firearm with you, what that could do to a situation?
Well, Sean, like you said, we truly, fully support the Second Amendment, people's right to bear arms. But when you enter into a situation, a volatile situation like Minnesota, where there were riots on the streets and people attacking federal law enforcement officers and ramming them with vehicles and continued criminality and burning down and literally destroying federal vehicles and stealing information, we have to ask people what's prudential, what's smart. And it's not smart to go out there with a fully loaded weapon. We're just saying be careful and be reasonable, like you've outlined. If you have a right to a permit for a firearm, that's okay. But you cannot incite violence and you cannot break the law and attack federal law enforcement officers.
I don't speed anymore, but when I did, and I got pulled over once or twice, and I had a firearm on me, a loaded firearm. I put my hands out the window. Officer comes up to the window. First thing I say, officer, I have a pistol carry permit, and I have a loaded weapon in the car. Immediately. Because they never know what they're walking into. They have no idea who is on the other side of a gun or the other side of a confrontation. And I hope people keep that in mind. They deserve to go home to their families also. FBI Director Kash Patel,
Sean.
we appreciate you being with us.
And I've mentioned that many times. That's how you handle that. You let the cop know this is what's up. You don't just surprise him with shit like that. So this idea of the people on the left that you just, because like they think they can bring up the gun thing, and us people on the right are going to be like, well, it's a gun, yay, you should always have a gun everywhere you go. I don't think most of us feel that way. You should have the right to own one. You certainly, if you've got a concealed carry permit, then yeah, you should be carrying if you want, for sure. You obviously know the hassles that go with that. You know the hazards that go with that. You know the laws that go with that. And there are certain things that you need to be very aware of when you're going to do something like that. And certainly, letting cops know is part of that. Now, some of the information that's coming out around this Minneapolis stuff is, it's looking really bad for Minneapolis administrations. The administration within Minneapolis, meaning people that are up the food chain are close to Tim Walz, possibly even Walz himself might be in some of these channels, hopefully under an alias. But Orrin Chowdhury is a Minneapolis city council member. She's been linked to the top of an anti-ICE signal group chat. This revelation is fueling calls for a major investigation into her and other city officials allegedly involved. This is her right here, Orrin Chowdhury. She is Minneapolis Ward 12. She should not be in these signal chat groups. That is inappropriate beyond inappropriate. We've got this information here as well. So she wants to be a star. This is that Chowdhury chick. Let's make her one. Let's make her famous. Amanda Noel Kohler. Oh, this is a different one. Sorry, this is another lady. I think this one's more involved with Waltz. She's a far-left Democrat protest organizer and campaign strategist for Tampon Tim Walz. She's been identified as an anti-ICE signal group leader, coordinating the targeted attacks and doxing of federal ICE agents and the organized resistance and obstruction of federal ICE agents enforcing federal immigration laws in Minneapolis. In case you didn't know, Amanda Noel Kohler, she was also a candidate for the Minnesota State House of Representatives. In 2019, she was the executive director of the Refugee Empowerment Center in Omaha, Nebraska. Amanda is a criminal superstar. There you go. There you go. Right there. Amanda Kohler. Instagram. Apparently it's no longer active. Wonder why. Probably she's getting destroyed by people like us. Hour 1 put this out. What do we have on these signal chats? Well, we have government officials. We have anarchists, Antifa, gang members, and journalists coordinating and attacking ICE agents across the country. This, my friend, is organized crime, not protesting. This is RICO. This is organized crime. We have so much that we have to be able to get to, and it all requires, and this is why your guys' rippling is going to be the most important thing. Hopefully some of you guys have trouble sleeping at night too. The most important thing we do is message this up. We need to get the optics as hot and bright as we possibly can when it comes to the fact that we've literally got government organizations working against the people that are just trying to fulfill holding the laws, like holding people accountable to the laws. And we've got government officials stopping that. If you're breaking the laws, that makes you a criminal. Now, they like to try to say that's not true. Well, just breaking the law doesn't make you a criminal. Yeah, no, it does, actually. It's exactly what criminal is. You commit crime. Breaking the law is committing crime. Committing crime makes you a criminal. These criminals are being helped by government officials within the state government. That is helping the criminals, not the law-abiding, not the people that are giving you all this money that you're just funneling to Somalians, that's for sure. The federal government. Grum's posted this. Pardon my French. It's his quote, though. We're all fucked. Feels good to say. Rioter Signal Chat was exposed for all their internal plans targeting ICE agents, names, threats, illegal acts, Now they're actually panicking a little bit. It's kind of funny. I'll try to see if I can read some of this to you guys for those that can't maybe see the screen. But there's supposedly, I don't even say how many people are in this group. Can't tell. I don't use Signal. But they started off, Sky, what do we do now? And response is run. Run where? I don't know. Out of the state. I'm leaving tonight. I don't know what's happening. We're in so much trouble. Why would we be in trouble? Relax. Signal is not secure. I worked in communications. Once they figured out where we were, it's only a matter of time. Flan has been exposed. We're all fucked. I need to leave the state. Should I leave too? Maybe the best is to get out of the country. I have contacts in Cuba. It was a thought. Have you been in contact with others? Hopefully everyone knows to get out. Nope, just logged on. Oh, okay. Anxious to get the new ISLE group up and running. We have to lock this down. Now. I can't find the new links. They have the Sky Whispers. I can't find the new links. Same. Whoops. Let's get back to the end of that. Pretty sure the Oh, shucks. Damn it. Bastard. Pretty sure the FBI just pulled up to my neighbor's house. The guy says, stay safe. You too. What are your plans? I may be doing the same. We have less than 24 hours. For what? To get out? Yes. Good luck. They know the game. The jig is up, as you would say. Now, Data Republican posted this. The Signal Group uses Sign-Up Genius. Their terms of service prohibit usage for illegal activities. Isn't that interesting? Libs of TikTok. Can we get a campaign going? So it says on the restrictions, you agree you do not under any circumstances post any information via the services that is abusive, threatening, obscene, defamatory, libelous, or racially, sexually, religious, blah, blah, blah. Use the service for any unlawful purpose for the promotion of illegal activities. That's illegal to attempt to stop government law enforcement. Attempt to harass, abuse, or harm another person, group via the services. Use another's user's account without permission. Provide false or inaccurate information when registering an account. Interfere and attempt to interfere with the proper function of the services. Make any automated use of the site or services or take blah, blah, blah. Bypass any robot exclusion. Publish a link or malicious content. So really what it comes down to is the to any unlawful purpose for the promotion of illegal activities would likely be the one that falls under the restrictions for Sign Up Genius. Be enough to shut down that type of stuff completely. Again, is Sign Up Genius going to survive this? There's a company right there that's trying to do, this is what we do. No, you don't, apparently. I guarantee you'd shut down a conservative person in a heartbeat, somehow find a way to debank their punk ass. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, nah, you're all about it. You go, communist. Now, Eric Schwalm, a long post, but it's actually really good, and I think it's worth the read. Hopefully I can do justice. As a former Special Forces warrant officer with multiple rotations running counterinsurgency ops, both hunting insurgents and trying to separate them from sympathetic populations, I've seen organized resistance up close. From Anbar to Helmand, the pattern is familiar. Spotters, cutouts, dead drops or modern equivalents, disciplined comms, role specialization, and a willingness to absorb casualties while bleeding the stronger force slowly. What's unfolding in Minneapolis right now isn't protest. It's a low-level insurgency infrastructure built by people who've clearly studied the playbook. Signal groups at 1,000-member cap per zone, dedicated roles, mobile chasers, plate checkers, logging vehicle data into shared databases, 24/7 dispatch nodes vectoring assets, salute-style reporting, size, activity, location, unit, time, equipment. That's what salute stands for. On suspected federal vehicles, daily chat rotations and time deletions to frustrate forensic recovery. Vetting processions for new joiners, mutual aid from sympathetic locals, teachers providing cover, possibly police department tip-offs on license plate lookups, home base coordination points, rapid escalation from observation to physical obstruction or worse. This isn't spontaneous outrage. This is C2, command and control. We talked about C4, command, control, communications. I feel like there's another C that I'm forgetting, but there's two of them. So C2, command and control with redundancy, OPSEC hygiene, and task organizations that would make an SF team sergeant nod in recognition. Replace ICE agents with occupying coalition forces, and the structure maps almost one-to-one to early-stage urban cells we hunted in the mid-2000s. The most sobering part? It's domestic, funded, trained somewhere, and directed by people who live in the same country they're trying to paralyze law enforcement in. When your own citizens build and operate this level of parallel intelligence and rapid response network against federal officers, complete with doxing, vehicle pursuits, and harassment that's already turned lethal, you're no longer dealing with civil disobedience. You're facing a distributed resistance that's learned the lessons of successful insurgencies. Stay below the kinetic threshold most of the time. Force overreaction when possible. Maintain popular support through narrative, and never present a single center of gravity. I spent years training partner forces to dismantle exactly this kind of apparatus. Now, pieces of it are standing up in American cities, enabling by elements of local government and civil society. That should keep every thinking American awake at night. Not because I want escalation, but because history shows these things don't de-escalate on their own once the infrastructure exists and the cadre believe they're winning the information war. We either recognize what we're actually looking at, or we pretend it's still just activism until the structures harden and spread. Your call, America. But from where I sit, this isn't January 2026 politics anymore. It's phase one of something we've spent decades trying to keep off our own soil. I think it's a beautiful point that he makes. And the guy obviously knows what he's talking about. At least it sounds like he does. You guys that have been in intelligence, you're like, yeah, yeah, he's right. Donald Trump truth this. I just had a very good telephone conversation with Mayor Jacob Fry of Minneapolis. Lots of progress is being made. Tom Homan will be meeting with him tomorrow in order to continue the discussion. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, this was posted yesterday, which I believe Tom Homan was meeting with Governor Walz, a.k.a. retard. So he's meeting with him. Now he's going to be meeting with Fry next. Kind of gives me the feel that they're letting him know what's up. And you keep doing what you're doing, and let me just explain to you how this will play out. We've already got everything lined up. We've got it all done. It would be funny if it was Gitmo and they could actually kind of threaten that sort of threat, in that your regular courts aren't going to be involved in this. You've signed an oath to the Constitution. And by that oath, we can use a different sort of justice. And these people are breaking the law. And again, the first arrest, I mean, again, we're going to be the ones that try to help smooth this out. It's going to be our ripples that help other people realize, this is what's happening. This is what's supposed to happen. A lot of people don't have the stomach for the fact that we're literally enforcing laws. But someone died. Yeah, people shouldn't be. They're doing insurgencies against cops. You shouldn't do that. It's a bad idea. Any rational-minded person knows not to do that. So we've got organized criminal groups working to thwart legal police actions. That's heavily illegal. That's not cool. And again, shoe could have been on the other foot, and it will be if we don't win this next election, though I don't think that's a fear. That's not a fear I'm living with in any way, shape, or form. I understand what's playing out. I understand how this is playing out, and I understand the timing of it's going to be sweet. So there are a lot of people on the deep state side of this that are like, we got this. No, they don't. They don't know how, and they have no idea of some of the stuff that's coming. And we continue to push them into corners, and they don't realize the damage they're doing. We got this. It's just got to play out, and it's going to be ugly as hell while it plays out. I mean, really ugly. More people will die. That's for sure. Minimizing that would be rad. And for those of you that don't know what the hell that word means, they'll be great. Rad, what is this word you speak of? Short for radical. Trump admin wins appeal of the ICE injunction in Minnesota. This is pretty cool. So the panel of the United States Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit lifted the injunction of U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez, who prevented officers from arresting, detaining, pepper spraying, or retaliating against protesters in Minneapolis without probable cause. It's the most insane thing. The judge, the appellate judge, they said, we accessed and viewed the same videos the district court did. What they show is observers and protesters engaging in a wide range of conduct, some of it peaceful, but much of it not. They also show federal agents responding in various ways. Even the named plaintiffs' claims involve different conduct by different officers at different times, in different places, in response to different behavior. These differences mean that there are no questions of law or fact common to the class. Federal R Civil Penalty 23A2, whatever the frick that means. It's the code. I know it's the place where that law is written, whatever the hell. That would allow the court to decide all their claims in one stroke. The panel also found Judge Menendez's order unacceptably vague. Quote, second, in addition to being too broad, the injunction is too vague. Even the provision that singles out the use of pepper spray or similar non-lethal munitions and crowd dispersal tools requires federal agents to predict what the district court would consider peaceful and unobstructive protest activity. The videos underscore how difficult it would be for them to decide who has crossed the line. They show a fast-changing mix of peaceful and obstructive conduct, with many protesters getting in officers' faces and blocking their vehicles as they conduct their activities, only for some of them to then rejoin the crowd and intermix with others who were merely recording and observing the scene. The panel found that Judge Menendez's order left federal authorities in a dangerous position of not knowing when they could use these crowd control measures, which was exactly what they were trying to do. To continue, quote, to the extent the injunction's breadth and vagueness cause federal agents to hesitate in performing their lawful duties, it threatens to irreparably harm the government and undermine the public interest. Menendez got shafted hard on this. That is a giant-ass fail for Menendez. This is one of the ways these people will be punished. And this is one of the purposes, I think, for what this federal court nonsense is doing. Yeah, it's slowing it down. We know that was going to happen, but it's also solidifying and codifying law. It's also kind of really showing that district judges don't have this branching authority that they like to think they have. A lot of things are playing out and working out well, but I agree, going through this has been a bit of a pain in the arse. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says protesters have a right to peacefully protest, not impede law enforcement by no means.
Morning. Mr. Secretary, I know this is not your purview either, but we just read this Social statement from the president about sending Tom Homan to Minneapolis. What's happening there? How does this resolve? How do we get to a better place?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. How do we get to a better place? Again, I've been focused on the storm, but I was a former prosecutor. And again, everyone has a right to protest. You can go out with a sign and a whistle and you can protest ICE as they're arresting criminal illegals who are in the country. But listen, you can't impede their work. They're enforcing federal law. Those are the laws in the books that they're enforcing. And to think that you can, you get in their face, you can impede their efforts to arrest violent criminals, you can ram their cars and throw, ice bricks at their vehicles. Listen, that's just fully unacceptable. And I think we found ourselves in this situation after Joe Biden let, 10, 15, 18 million people into the country. And then Tim Walz has chosen not to enforce the law. Again, you can protest all you want, but we start to get to some very dangerous territory when leadership in Minnesota will not push back on their protesters who are, again, getting in the way of ICE officers who are doing their good work to arrest people who really don't belong in the community. So again, I think leadership could take the tensions down, but the alternative, Becky, would be, does President Trump say, well, we're just going to allow violent illegals to stay in Minnesota or in any state throughout the country? I think the answer to that is no. I would just note that in Texas, they have arrested and deported 10 times the number of people in Minnesota. But in Texas, the state government has partnered, local law enforcement has partnered with ICE. I mean, these aren't the good people who you think have been here for 15 years that are working a construction job or doing a different job. The president's going after the violent element of those who come into the country illegally. I don't know why Tim Walz is trying to defend them during this very critical time. Have your people stand down.
Because one of the key groups of people we're taking down are those involved in crime, drugs, which is a lot of money for them. Certainly the stuff that's being illegally taken from the governments, they're protecting them. These guys are committing crimes, so they're in the hot seat. They're being arrested. And they're also arresting people who have been fomenting illegal voting. Now, they're not talking about it, of course, no. But this is what the Dems are freaking out about. We are destroying their system. It doesn't look like it to us, does it? No. Looks like chaos is happening. We haven't gotten everybody out of there. Do you know who they've gotten out of there? If you think about organized crime in a city, how many people do you think are actually sitting on that organized crime in a structure of power? How many, literally? 5, 6, 7? I mean, 10? Not that many. They've got lots of henchmen, but you cut the control mechanism away from them, and most of these people are lost. They don't know how to organize something on their own. That's not what they do. They follow orders. You take away the order creators, you've taken away a lot. So how do we know the 5,000 people arrested in Chicago or whatever the number is? How do we know how many of those people aren't legitimate problem children? I'd suggest or suspect we have a large idea of who most of these people are. And those were the focus. We are taking back our country successfully. People that are freaking out are not focusing on the big picture. They just don't understand it. They're very myopic or nearsighted on expecting to see Hillary arrested, or whoever their one person. There's so many people have a person. Until that person gets arrested, nothing's happened. All right, well, you're an idiot, is what you are. You really, you're not operating with full intelligence if that's how you look at this whole thing. No offense if a bunch of you guys just said, Dan, that's mean. The shoe fits. Wear that idiot shoe comfortably. It's probably on the wrong foot. I just highly recommend you switch feet maybe with it. Just try that out and see how that goes. You might be surprised. Minnesota's top federal judge ordering ICE chief to court. Threatens contempt. This is funny as hell to me. We've got a district court for a state demanding a federal agent, a head of a federal department, come to their small little state court and answer questions. Otherwise, you're in contempt. You're a state, you're like a federal judge, I get it, but you're operating on a state court or state problem. You don't have any jurisdiction for this. He's probably going to show up. I think a lot of it is going to be a show for us. This is ridiculous. I'm curious if an appellate court or somebody steps in and says, you don't have the right to do that, Judge Schultz. And they're all pissy. They're all sorts of attitude. It's friggin' awesome. Court's patience is at an end, says Judge Schultz. The practical consequence of respondents' failure to comply has almost always been significant hardship to aliens. Yeah, because they're here fucking illegally. Hello? Schlitz malt liquor? It's Schultz, but whatever. That's some nasty shit, too. If any of you guys ever tried some Schlitz, that's some gross-ass shit, wasn't it? The name should have told us something. Did the White House just blink? This pisses me off. It's what General Flynn says. Did the White House just blink? Met this dude in person. I've defended this dude. Man, there are times where I'm like, you have got to be intentionally doing misinformation. Because you know how this shit works, General Flynn. Are you literally? How is it I can see this better than you can? That's not possible. Right? It's just not. Otherwise, I, at some point, should have been recruited by the military. I'd be like, dude, you seriously, I don't know what it is, but you just figure shit out. There's no fucking way. No one's ever approached me and said, hey, Dan, we got to have you. Actually, no one's ever done that. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, did the White House just blink? I don't think so at all. So maybe he's playing the trying to get people into a direction, because that is what misinformation's meant to do. Especially misinformation by white hats. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for the moment. But you can mislead people into an interesting place. Now, this doesn't, to me, help. This is going to cause a lot of people to be like, fuck Trump, man. What's he doing? Kirsty Noem's got to go. What's up with these guys? What else can you get from that? God damn it. God bless it. That's how when you piss off God and do the wrong thing, that's what you say to get past it, right? You're like, sorry, God, didn't mean to say that. Let me say it the way I meant it to say it. God bless it. What other positive things can come from this? What, make you angry? Okay, then what are you going to do? Well, you're going to focus your anger in a direction. Well, you got WH in there, White House. Well, that's where they're going to focus the anger. Like right now, because you're the one that made this message, I'm sort of focusing my frustration on you, Mr. Flynn, General, sir. Again, I have respect, but what are you doing? How is it that I see this better than you? That's not possible. What are you doing? Is it relevance? I mean, I don't know. Everyone's saying that the feds are leaving. They're saying that. Trump's still making deals. Homan's still going to be talking to people. Now, if there's been some closed-door deals and Trump's like, all right, you better hold to that or else. Okay, yeah, maybe he's pulling out Greg Bovino, the Border Patrol. The reason CBP's there is not so much to remove people as it is because that's what ICE is there for. You guys can correct me there. Hit me up on Twitter if I'm totally wrong on this. I'll fall on that sword. But for the most part, I understand Border Patrol protects the border. And if they get people trying to cross and stuff like that or coming through ports of entry, right, and then the Border Patrol's involved. Once they get inside, well, now ICE gets involved. That's not Border Patrol's job anymore. They kind of failed, basically. They got through that line of defense. Now we've got this secondary line of defense called ICE. Border Patrol was there, to my understanding, kind of to probably keep ICE safe because we couldn't get National Guard support, weren't allowed to do that, and the police weren't helping us. The sheriff weren't helping us. So we had to help us. So they sent in more federal troops that the judge couldn't control. Now we're sending the CBP home. That's just the protection people, right? ICE isn't leaving. There's no discussion of that. This is all around Greg Bovino. There's also a rumor that he's fired or quit. We'll get there. But ICE didn't leave. So this is being spun. Again, zero hedge. I'm losing so much faith in you. I only pulled 4 stories from them today. That's how bad they were. I think I looked at 75 stories. 4 made it today. Normally it's way more than that. We'll see. I am a little miffed. Okay, guys, I could be totally wrong. You guys know that. And if I am, I'll fucking tell you. Happy to. I'd be happy to be wrong about some of this shit, but unfortunately, doesn't seem like it yet. DHS spokesperson denies Greg Bovino relieved from duty. This is another rumor that's floating around. And it was some stupid source that started it. And then everybody ran with it. Respectable people ran with it. Again, I'm losing personally, this is where I'm at. All right, there's a website I used to follow. I used to get on it all the time. They'd put me on it anyway all the time. My shows ended up on the top 5 every single day. It was awesome, right? Now I'm finding this site constantly has clickbaity titles, constantly using videos that are super old. I've seen them do this a bunch. Videos that are from prior to December of last year. And making it sound like it's new information, putting a clickbaity title on it. It's just I'm seeing politicians doing similar stuff. I'm seeing behavior that is I'm seeing people in our circles. It is so weird. I mean, again, and I can see how easy I am a target right now for people to be like, this is the divisiveness that's happening. Right? All these shills are coming out and trying to shoot down all the people that are actually doing great work. It's like, I'm just trying to admit we got a fox in the hen house. I see it. It's right over there. No one else seems to see it. It's about to eat one of our friends. That's all. Don't know what to say anymore. Governor Tim Walz. This is, I don't know, I'm just going to play like a minute of this, I think, roughly. Check this out. Damn it, I went over an hour. I'm going to anyways. Fuck.
This is Representative P.M. Altendorf coming live at you from the Minnesota State Capitol. I am on the ground floor, and as I was leaving my committee meeting today here earlier, I noticed that there is a new display here at the State Capitol, and it's for Governor Walz. It's right here on display. So let me see. I mean, I guess I can't flip my phone, but I'll see if I can show it to you. So this is what we have here, everyone. Let me read it to you. The Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshippers thanks Governor Tim Walz for not standing in the way of spreading Satanism in the State Capitol building. Satan has a special place for you.
Yeah, it's called hell. Which I, again, don't fully believe in hell, but his belief structure is going to lead him to a place that's going to make many of you happy. So yeah, he'll have an experience of hell. It should be pretty awesome. It should be pretty awesome. At some point, he will cry for God's help. That's for sure. Trump's DOJ announces huge bust. 31 criminals, including Tren de Aragua.
Massive ATM jackpotting scheme. Federal officials announced 31 more people were charged today. Many are allegedly linked to the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Authorities say the group used malware and thumb drives to force ATMs to withdraw millions of dollars across the U.S.
Tren de Aragua. When they say it all like smug like that, it's like kind of disgusting. Kind of want to punch my own face. Republicans scramble to avoid shutdown amid public ICE backlash. What's really funny, you know how I've been talking about this. I didn't catch this little piece, so this is a pretty cool little addendum to the story we've been talking about. They're like, we're not going to fund ICE. We're not going to pass the DHS bill. Oh, take that. And they're like, so here's the thing that you guys are kind of too stupid to even get. The House passed bill would allocate another $10 billion extra money. Let me explain. They're going to add $10 billion for ICE on top of the $76 billion the agency is slated to receive over 4 years from the one big, beautiful bill. Oops. Did you already fund DHS? Oh. Now I wonder, who wrote the book of life? Right. I'm wondering who the hell is going to be able to shut down the government now. They need to. They want to. But they can't stop DHS. You can shut down the government all you want. It's already paid for. They've literally, they got to come up with another reason to shut down the government. This was going to be it. And it's been true all along that they already funded it. Democrats running down Schumer, supposed to know what he's doing, supposed to have a staff that's not telling him stupid shit. Somehow we head faked him with an additional $10 billion that they figured would probably never make it through. They got it through the House because we got a majority. Got Marjorie Big Mouth out of there, so we're sitting pretty. $76 billion have already been appropriated. Done. You should have known that, Schumer. Shouldn't you have? That's so strange how you didn't. You just seemed to think you could shut down DHS by shutting down the government. And someone finally whispered in your ear, they already funded. Fuck! He probably said. I mean, he's New Yorker, I would assume. I would definitely say that. I went to New York one time and I got fuck all over me. I couldn't get the fuck off me. John! I only do it that much because it really bothered someone. They were angry at me on Twitter. They're like, you use the F word too much now. I can't watch this show with my grandkids. Like, you shouldn't watch this show with kids. I had adult humor in here. I constantly talk about things that are somewhat sexual, and I certainly cuss a bunch. There's a bunch of reasons why kids shouldn't watch this show. It's not for kids. It's for their parents. Appeals court, they're not going to consider Haba's disqualification. Figures. So now the Supreme Court gets to hear this. This will be curious. I don't know. They got this stupid rule, and I don't know if I don't think that's in the Constitution or anything, and I don't know how long that rule's been in place. I don't know enough about this, frankly. I'm a little ignorant, but we'll learn more about it. That's one thing that's going to happen through this process. So I'm bringing it to the kind of forefront, simmer on the front burner. I'm just turning on. Yes, I have a gas stove. Kidding me? Turn it on the fire a little bit. We're going to come back to this when we know a little more, but this 120-day rule, since we can't get people because of blue slips into positions they need to be in. This is going to be very interesting to see. Is the blue slip law, which is not a law, it's an agreement, it's a gentleman's agreement, but is that blue slip thing, does that supersede the ability to be able to put people in? Like, I got to fill this role, and you guys are being dicks and won't let me put people in there unless they're Democrats, which is not going to happen. So, yeah, Supreme Court will see it eventually. I don't know if they've got a date in here. Doubt it. Yeah, but it will be good when we find out more about this. So this is just one of the many, many, many things. The Supreme Court's going to be very busy. They're earning their money. Treasury is canceling contracts with Booz Allen Hamilton. This is, yeah, they're just, they've been entrusted with specific information. They're not doing a good enough job, like personal information of American citizens, social security numbers, stuff like that. They're not doing a good enough job securing it, meaning I think a lot of people have access to the information that shouldn't. That's how it's always been. And they've been able to use through Booz Allen, because they are definitely deep state, hardcore deep state. They've been able to use them to find people through the Treasury Department to go after. Again, Besant can't come out and say that. That's what this is. They just shut a window. Booz Allen, they only got paid $4.8 million in annual spending. Bring up the shake weights, folk. Shake weight it, baby. Shake weight it. This is way bigger than that. Booz Allen's bad people. Allegedly, I think, from what I've heard. Don't like them. There's a lot of stuff out there. I don't think they could sue me for saying that, but anyway. If you're thinking of using Booz Allen, go ahead and please interview them. Give them a chance. Silver and gold. Silver's down. So again, the wiggle wobble, I thought this was going to happen Monday. I'm kind of surprised it waited till today, because Monday it went up a bunch again. That actually shocked me. Typically, it's Monday they try to make a big deal about letting everyone know who's in charge. Well, maybe that's what we found out. Maybe it's not the banks. Silver down a bunch today, $7. No biggie. It's still $108 per ounce. When I bought this, it was it was $23 when I bought it. I actually bought this. Now, by the way, to be honest, these were minted coins. I think I want to say I paid $50, $60 for each, maybe 70, and because I kind of spread it out a little. Because, spot price is $23. You're going to pay almost double that, or at least 1.5 times, to go to a mint and get coins. Because coins are guaranteed purity, so there's a number of things that come into play on that. Now, that said, I paid $50. It's worth 108. Yeah, money well spent. Now, again, am I going to sell it? No. I'm not looking at it like I want 50 Federal Reserve notes. No, because in about 6 months, this is going to be double that. It's going to be worth 200 Federal Reserve notes. It's not that it's more valuable. It's still as valuable as it was. It's being used in a lot more market stuff, so it is kind of actually more valuable. Gold's not more valuable. It'll go up also. In fact, it's up $3.90 today. It was down a little bit earlier, but it's at 5,086. That, again, at the start of last year. What the hell was gold at the start of last year? Just for fun. And again, these are important numbers to look. Let's go 1 year. Just to make it easy. It was like February, but whatever. So it was 2,700. I mean, again, guys, our Federal Reserve note is dying. Stock market's not going to tank, but you're losing buying power every freaking day if you're in a 401k or IRA. Again, I don't want to spend a huge amount of time. If you're in a 401k or an IRA, you've heard me talk about this a lot. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Goldco, they rock. They're good at this. They're the best at this, best customer service. They've got a number of suppliers, and that is going to be a tricky part of this process, probably moving forward. I haven't heard anything yet. Goldco, if you're hearing this and you want to sort of let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to keep assuming everything's on the up and up. But drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Move as much of your money over, tax-free, penalty-free. 401ks and IRAs, they're pre-tax money. That's the thing. If they give it to you in any way, shape, or form, that's payout. You have to pay taxes, and then you pay penalties because you took it out early. So you get double left, right? And that's bad. We don't want that, right? So you move it sideways. You don't ever touch it. You move it sideways, as much of it as you can. Tax-free, penalty-free. Up to 10% free silver is being offered by Goldco. Up to 10% free silver. This right here, that's multiplying. A lot of the experts are suggesting by the end of the year, we'll be sitting over $400. That's possibly conservative. We'll see how quickly this destruction of the Federal Reserve note goes. A lot of countries are going to start dropping treasuries. A lot of this cash by the deep state may be opened up. Remember the billions of the pallets, the 10,000 pallets of $1 billion each or whatever the hell it was? Those pallets are locked. They tried to mess with a few of them. They've destroyed the money in a few cases, but those are locked. They've opened a couple of them. There's a bunch that aren't. And those were always designed to destroy our currency. You flood the world with a bunch of our notes suddenly become worth less. Precious metals will protect you from that. Protect you. Buying power. Okay? Back in 1913, I could buy a handmade tailored suit. Today, I can buy a handmade tailored suit with this one gold piece. Back in 1913, one Federal Reserve note would buy me 30 full-size Hershey chocolate bars. 30 for $1. Today, $1 will get you a discount bag of gummy worms. It'll probably have like 6 worms in it. I could have gotten 30 candy bars with that $1. This still buys me the same thing. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system. If you have a 401k or IRA, get the fudge out of their system. At least divest something. Even if it's 5,000, even if it's 10,000, I think there might be a limit of 10,000. Even if it's whatever. Save some of that. Keep paying into it. I don't care. Protect what you can. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you. All right. Trump's quiet hammer. How CIA Director John Ratcliffe has revitalized spy agency in president's first year back. Very true. We don't see a lot of him, do we? I feel like we saw too much of Brennan. We don't see much of Ratcliffe, and a lot of people use that as a gauge of, well, he's not doing anything. Yeah, he is. He's doing a good job. He went down to Venezuela, and he came back, and we haven't heard a damn thing about it. But he took care of business in some way, shape, or form, didn't he? Yeah, he's done a good job. I think he's probably, from what we understand, CIA is finally working for the United States' interests, hopefully. Donald Trump truthed this out in regards to South Korea. He's a little upset with them. Our trade deals are very important to America. In each of these deals, we have acted swiftly to reduce our tariffs in line with the transaction agreed to. We, of course, expect our trading partners to do the same. South Korea's legislature is not lining up its deal with the United States. President Lee and I reached a great deal for both countries on July 30th, 2025, and we reaffirmed these terms while I was in Korea on October 29th, 2025. Why hasn't the Korean legislature approved it? Because the Korean legislature hasn't enacted our historic trade agreement, which is their prerogative. I am hereby increasing South Korean tariffs on autos, lumber, pharma, and all other reciprocal tariffs from 15 to 25%. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Capital letter Donald Trump, President of the United States, all capital letters. And the Korean president, I'm quite sure, is like, thank you. Trump's like, I got this. We'll get this. Don't you worry. I'm going to shame the shit out of them. It works. The IRGC, they are the Iranian group, our carrier groups coming into the vicinity. Everybody says, it's kind of funny, and I know we're prepared for this, especially after what happened in Venezuela. I'm quite sure we're prepared for this. The Lincoln is one of our newer ships. That's the carrier group that's there. It's got a whole bunch of good stuff on the carrier group itself. Plus, we've got a whole squadron of F-15 fighters, as well as a whole lot of C-17s and C-5s have been moving stuff for weeks across the pond. Started 2-3 weeks ago. So we got a whole lot of equipment there. We're ready. We're ready for what's about to happen. Now, the way this is playing out to the world is Iran's going to fight us. They've got their finger on the trigger. They've got all these missiles. They've got so many missiles. So many missiles. They're going to shoot these drones at us. They got millions of drones. Shoot all these drones. And they could overwhelm a carrier. No, first off, I don't think it's possible you could sink a carrier with drones. Even if there's nobody even trying to stop them, I don't think you could sink the carrier with drones. It's generally don't seem to be high enough explosive. Missiles, different story. Drones always kind of, I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Maybe I'm wrong. Doesn't matter. They're not going to get there. But I believe we have technology that's impressive, that's capable of stopping drones. We've seen what Russia's been able to come up with. I have a hard time believing we haven't done much the same. These groups that are in harm's way, especially the ones handling Iran, we had a lot of carriers that came back while Trump was in office the first time that actually got refitted, whatever that means. Likely they got refitted with new reactors because there was a new reactor that came out that has like way more power. And then likely there's probably some energy weapons that have been put on these ships as well that people probably have no idea they even have on their ships. They probably came in a box. They're probably still in a box. Captain and maybe one or two other people know that what's inside that box. Maybe they don't even know. Yeah, we added something. We'll let you know if you ever need to use it. Okay. Is that big giant gold button? Yeah, that's the big giant gold button. We'll let you know when to press it. Otherwise, don't press it. Ukraine is not going to get any more Patriot missiles from Germany. That's the end of that. Germany's like, nah, we're kind of screwed already. We've given you too much. We don't have any more to give you. Now, interesting, Europe is starting this whole like, well, the only people that are going to give Ukraine weapons is going to be Europe first. Well, Ukraine first, then Europe, then barely outside of Europe, and then like really outside of Europe, which means first Ukraine, second Europe, third UK, fourth, and probably not ever, United States. Fuck you, United States. And we're probably like, totally cool. We got the best weapons in the world. You all need to get better at making them. So yeah, you go ahead and supply your own shit weapons. Have at it. We don't care. That's great. Some of your stuff's good. Some of it's not. That Storm Shadow's not a bad missile. France used to have the Exocet, which is a pretty powerful missile. I'm assuming they've made it better. So they've probably got some decent stuff. Taiwan, they're monitoring China after this Beijing fires their top general. Taiwan's tripping on this, which I thought was interesting. It was fun to get some other perspective. And they're paying attention because they considered that an abnormal change in China's military leadership after Beijing placed this Lieutenant General Shang Yuxia, the country's leading general, under investigation for corruption, with reports alleging he leaked nuclear secrets. While stunning shakeup consolidates Xi Jinping's power, analysts warn it raises serious questions about the PLA's readiness and stability, with one expert describing it as a major crisis with leadership instability unseen since the Cultural Revolution. Taiwanese authorities remain on high alert. This is a big changes going on in China, and if Xi can get in control of China away from the CCP and actually pull it off, that'll be huge, for lack of any better way to say it. Gordon G. Chang is giving a little bit of a warning about China as well, and they're screwed. Their economy's dying, and so they've got to remember the Georgia Guidestone said 16 17ths or whatever of the planet we're going to lose. There's only going to be 500 million people left. Keep that number in mind. 500 million. Keep that number in mind.
The birth rate in China is even worse than we thought before. So that's also a huge issue, Gordon.
Between now and the end of the century, China will lose probably 2/3 to 3/4 of its population. So it reports 1.4 billion now. It'll probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of 450 million. No country has ever undergone a demographic collapse like this, not even Europe during the Black Death. So really what we're talking about is something nobody has ever seen before. And I don't think China can remain a great power when its population falls apart.
Because China's going to change. It's going to stop being the world's manufacturing warehouse and become its own country, producing products for its own people at a pace that it can sustain and be a part of the global community in a way that's fantastic and share that beautiful Chinese culture with us, not try to control the rest of the world. Now, again, this was the deep state. The communist is really the regime that was going to do it. China was the grand experiment, and they were going to turn that on for the rest of the world. That ended long ago. and the way it's played out. And maybe that was part of why Trump needed to wait another term too. Certain other countries weren't quite far enough along. And Trump's like, all right, another reason to wait. All right, I'll just take control of the military and we'll wait this out. China, get your shit together. And China's like, okay. We are changing the world. And there's a lot of people that are panicking out there. And I'm not trying to be Mr. Hope. I'm trying to say there's a lot of things to suggest we're in a much better place than a lot of people fear. Fear is not going to help us. What's going to help us is us being a positive part of the situation. To have us trying to help move the ball forward rather than freaking out and looking all around and not doing anything. Getting off our ass and actually doing something. And that's what my audience is most famous for. I love you guys because we're working together on this. Like I said, if I got to stay awake at night sometimes, I just pray to God there's a bunch of you guys not staying awake. I mean, get your sleep, I hope. But being a part of this. And I know many of you are. There's many of you I get to hear from. And I love you guys. Let's continue the fight. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.